So the first thing we do is we're entering the bus. We're checking the door and the door seals and the glass on the door. We're making sure it's there, it's clean, it's not broke, it's AS2 glass. The seal on the door is good, and the door opens and closes smoothly. On the way in, we're checking the floor stairs. We're making sure there's no rips or tears in the stairs. Coming in, we're checking the vents on the front, making sure there's no damage or nothing's missing where a student can stick their hand in. We're also checking the handrail. On the handrail, we're making sure there's no snags where a student could have a drawstring get caught. Walking up, at this time, we're going to be checking our safety equipment. We're going to be checking our first aid kit, our body fluid kit, making sure they have the seal on them and that the bus has both of them and that they are properly full. We're checking the first aid, or we're checking the fire extinguisher to make sure the fire extinguisher is there. It's in the green. And we're checking the 3 triangles, that we have 3 triangles on this bus. We're also making sure we have an insurance card that's current to this bus, and that we have 3 fuses in the fuse panel that are extra fuses for the bus. Okay, at this point, we're going to do our safe start procedure, which is we're going to be looking at the brake pedal, making sure the brake pedal is 5 inches off the ground. We would pump the pedal 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. Make sure we hear that the brake booster is working. And then at this time, holding the brake pedal down for 5 seconds, making sure the pedal does not go all the way to the floor. With the bus in neutral, we would turn the key to the on position. We're going to see that the ABS light comes on. And then we also have a brake press light that's on, and we hear the beeping from the brake press, and our parking brake light's on. We would start the bus, the ABS light will go off, same as the brake press light, and the brake buzzer goes off. Okay, and at this point we'll also check our student monitoring system, which is the camera system. I'm going to make sure the green light here comes on, and I have a front and rear camera. They are secure, they're not loose, broke, or missing, and the lenses are clean and not broke. The bus, after we've done our safe start procedure, we're going to turn our left turn signal on, and we're going to shut the door. Would be the first thing we do, is shut the door, then turn our left turn signal on, and then we'll start the warning lights to get the yellow amber lights going. Then we're going to walk to the back of the bus. We're going to be checking the bottoms of the seats as we walk back, and the floor mats to make sure there's no tripping hazards. We're going to get to the back of the bus. We're going to open the door, look out the bus. We should see the left turn signals blinking, as well as the top yellow amber lights are working. Walking to the back to the front of the bus, now we're checking the backs of the seats to make sure they are good and secure. When we get back up, we can look in our cat eye mirrors to make sure we see the yellow lights on the front are working, as well as the left turn signal is blinking, as well as the indicator lights on the dash. We should see a left turn signal blinking, as well as on our indicator for our warning lights is blinking. At this point, we'll turn the right turn signal on. We will open the door. We're going to turn our headlights on, and we're going to turn our strobe lights on. Looking in my cat eye mirrors at this time, I should see the right turn signal is blinking outside, as well as on the side of the bus, as well as on the dash. My indicator light for my red warning light should be on at this time, and I should be able to see them in my cat eye mirrors that the red lights are blinking at this time. I'm also looking and stepping outside of the bus. I'm looking at all my clearance lights all the way around the bus. They all should be on, as well as my crossing arm should be out, as well as my stop sign should be out, and as well as my strobe light should be on that I can see. I'll walk to the back and look to make sure all the tail lights are on there, as well as the rear red warning lights are on. Then I would come back to the front. I would ask the examiner for their help. Say, I need help to check my brake lights. The examiner at this time should go to the back of the bus, you would pump down on the brake pedal and have them check your warning lights. And once he gets back, then you're going to have to turn on your four-way lights to make sure your hazard lights are working. So when you do the railroad tracks, that they are working. You'll have to explain that to them and tell them that it's working on the dash. At this time, the examiner will get back on the bus. Then you're going to start checking all your rear heaters. You'll be checking all the heaters from your right rear heater, that it works high and low. Your front heater works high and low. And your right hand heater works high and low. Then you're also going to check to make sure your defrost works high, low, and medium. Then you're going to have to explain to them the controls for how much heat goes to the front versus to the back, as well as how much heat goes to the defrost to the bus side. You have to explain how all that works. Then you're also going to check your heated mirror switch, that it comes on and works, that your fans work high and low, both of them. You're going to check your interior lights to make sure they work. You're going to check your strobe light. You're going to check your heater master. If you get down there and you start taking the test and none of the heaters work, make sure the heater master is off. Then you're going to check your windshield wipers, your switch. You're also going to check the wiper blades at this time to make sure they are not tore or ripped. Once the wipers come on, you'll push the button in to make sure the squirter works. Okay, at this time, then you can go back and check all your emergency exits to make sure they're properly labeled and that they buzz when you open them. You will have to demonstrate how to open them. The same as your rear hatches. You'll explain that the rear hatches are properly labeled with emergency exit, but you will not open them. The examiner will not want you to open them for the test. On the back door, you have to explain that the back door from the inside is labeled emergency door and not emergency exit. It has to be labeled emergency door, and that we can open it and demonstrate how all that works. Okay, coming back up here to the driver's seat. With the bus running, we're going to have to talk about our gauges now. The bus should be at operating temperature, so all you have to do is look and read the gauges. So the first one's the transmission gauge. It's in operating range. The next one is the amp gauge. The amp gauge is there. It's at 0. It's in the normal operating range. The water temperature is at 210 degrees. That is normal operating range. The oil pressure is at 50 psi. That is normal operating range. The tachometer is working as it's sitting here. It's saying about 700 RPM. The speedometer, we will check that once we pull forward to check our service brake. We have our fuel tank is full, and our volt gauge is in the green and at 14 volts. So at this time, we're going to check the steering wheel for the play. There should be no more than 2 inches or 10 degrees of play in the steering wheel. Now, before we put the bus in drive, we have to make sure our seat belt is on, and there is no phrase in the seat belt, and it does retract. So we put our seat belt on. Now we're going to check our parking brake. We'll put the bus in drive with the parking brake on. We'll just bump the fuel a little bit to make sure the bus does not move. Then that tells us our parking brake is working correctly. Okay, now we'll put the bus back in neutral. With our foot on the brake, we will release the parking brake, put the bus back in drive, pulling forward at 5 miles an hour. We'll hit our brakes nice and soft. There should be no pulling to the left or the right on the stop, which that could indicate that we have a bad brake or it's pulling one way to the other, that it was a nice smooth stop. Okay, after that, we'll put the bus back in neutral, set the parking brake. We can look at this time at all of our mirrors to make sure all the mirrors are adjusted to us. That's all of our driving mirrors, and our student mirror is adjusted to us and clean and not broke. And the last thing we're going to check on this will be the horn. So we hit the horn to make sure it works, and that is the pre-trip.